Welcome back to Quiet Mind with Ken. As we go through life, many of us struggle with the fear of judgment. Whether it's worrying about how others see us, or feeling anxious about being judged for our choices, our appearance, or our actions. Tonight, we're going to talk about releasing that fear of judgment and finding peace in being who we truly are. This episode is for anyone who feels weighed down by the opinions of others or who is ready to embrace themselves with more confidence and self-acceptance. The fear of judgment is something that affects almost all of us at some point. It's part of being human to want to fit in and to be accepted by others. But when the fear of judgment starts to control our decisions or how we express ourselves, it can hold us back from being authentic and free. This fear often shows up in small ways, like hesitating to speak up in a meeting, worrying about how we're perceived in social settings, or holding back from pursuing something we care about because we're afraid of what others might think. But the truth is, we can't control how others see us, and allowing their opinions to shape our lives only keeps us stuck. I've definitely experienced moments where I was held back by the fear of judgment. I used to worry a lot about meeting people's expectations and being seen as good enough. Whether it was in my career, my personal life, or even how I presented myself, there was always this little voice in the back of my mind asking, what will people think? Over time, I realized that this fear was limiting me. It stopped me from pursuing things that mattered to me, and it made me question my own value based on how I imagined others might see me. Letting go of that fear is still a work in progress, but every time I take a step toward trusting myself more and worrying less about judgment, I feel freer and more at peace. Releasing the fear of judgment is essential for living a life that's true to who you are. When we're constantly worried about what others think, we're not fully showing up as ourselves. We might play small, avoid taking risks, or even hide parts of who we are to fit into what we think is expected of us. But the reality is, people will always have opinions, and we can't control how others see us. What we can control is how we respond to those opinions and whether or not we let them define us. By letting go of the fear of judgment, we open the door to more freedom, authenticity, and peace in our lives. So how can we start releasing the fear of judgment? It's not something that happens overnight, but there are a few steps we can take to help us feel more confident and less affected by the opinions of others. 1. Recognize when the fear of judgment shows up. Start by becoming aware of when you feel the fear of judgment creeping in. Is it when you're in a social setting? When you're making a decision? Noticing when it happens is the first step in overcoming it. 2. Challenge the thought. When you notice the fear of judgment, ask yourself, is this fear based on reality? Or am I imagining the worst? Often, the fear of judgment is rooted in our own insecurities, not in what others actually think. 3. Practice self-acceptance. The more you accept yourself, flaws and all, the less power the opinions of others will have over you. Start practicing self-compassion and reminding yourself that you are enough, just as you are. 4. Take small risks. One way to overcome the fear of judgment is to take small risks that push you out of your comfort zone. Whether it's sharing your opinion in a meeting or expressing yourself more authentically in a conversation, each small step will build your confidence. Let's take a moment now to reflect. Close your eyes if you can and take a deep breath in and out. As you breathe, think about a recent moment when you felt the fear of judgment. Maybe it was a situation where you were worried about how someone else would see you. Or maybe it was a moment where you held back from being fully yourself. Now, as you continue to breathe deeply, imagine releasing that fear. With each inhale, breathe in confidence. And with each exhale, let go of the need for approval. Remind yourself that you are enough, just as you are, and that the opinions of others do not define your worth. You are free to be yourself. As we wrap up tonight's reflection, remember that the fear of judgment is something we all face, but it doesn't have to control you. By recognizing it, challenging it, and practicing self-acceptance, you can begin to release the hold that fear has over your life. Thank you for being here with me tonight on Quiet Mind with Ken. As you prepare for sleep, take one more deep breath in and let it out. Rest knowing that you are enough, just as you are, and that you have the power to live freely without the fear of judgment weighing you down. Until next time, take care and remember, you're worthy of being your authentic self.